Okay, good morning, guys. On this video, I'm going to be showing you how to add and delete a weapon from the mercenary class that we created, and we're going to add it not only to the array but also to the text file. When I add it to the array or the text file, and also when I want to delete a weapon, it can be a little different to what you're used to, so let's go and show you how to do this. Firstly, we need to get our GUI interface.
Hello.
Firstly, we've got to get our user interface to work. So I want to get this add button, add weapon, to show me the add weapon frame. So FRM weapon is the one I've got, set visible to be true. Okay, and then also, so when I now go to my design and I open up that frame that I've got weapon, when I click add, I'd want to run a method add weapon, and I'd want to code that. So now in the add weapon, we would now want to get all the information from all our text files and then add it through to them. So an important thing is, as well, afterwards you would actually, I'm only going to set the visible to be false, meaning that when you click on that, it will hide the weapon frame and work with that. Now, one thing with that will not clear the text file. So the text files or various things like that will still contain the data that was in there previously when you open it again. So you probably would want to actually clear all that information as well, not just set the visible to false. I'm just doing that for the sake of this video. Okay, so now on the next thing that we would have, when you click the add, you want to get the weapon name, get the damage, and get the speed, and work from that. Now you'll see here I've used a spinner, but this spinner is not doesn't actually limit the user completely until I set the model of the spinner. Grade 11 says I am recording a video. If you are needing to talk to work on your project, you talk quietly. Okay, so now in the model, you can say that the model should be a number and limit the user to input an integer. That just ensures that you know what the user can only input. The actual GUI component limits the user input. But if you just add a spinner, you haven't actually limited them yet until you actually indicate that the model of it must be a number model, or date if you want them to use date, or whatever it might be. Now, I've named all these fields already, so that's been done. When I click add, I should run the add weapon class. We now want to get the information. So the things we want to get is we want to get the string weapon name, and we want to get the int damage, and we want to get the int speed. So those are the three things we would want, and then we would want to run our manager, so man.add weapon, and we would want to add the weapon with the damage and the speed. Now these have not been initialized, so I'm going to initialize them now to get them from, I'm going to go from txt weapon name dot get text to get that, and to get the damage. Now you'll see that for the spinner, the damage, I can't just go dot get value, because get value returns it as an object. Now we know we've limited the user to an integer object, so we can quite comfortably just go, and this is called casting. I'm casting what was in there into an integer to put it as into that value. Same thing with regards to my the speed. It's the exact same thing. I get the value, which will return it as an object, and I put that into there. And now that will add the weapon. Now, add weapon class in our manager class only adds it to the let me think this right. It only adds it to the array, doesn't add it to the it doesn't, no, not just to the text file, so only add it to the array. So what we would do is I would create a second one called add weapon to array and file, which I've created here, and you'll notice that I have a method called write to file. This, for you guys, this is available, this method, you don't actually get asked in exams or anything like that, so you guys can just literally go to your pupil shared drive, IT shared, IT general resources, code segments, and you'll see there writing to a file.txt. So if you open that writing to a file.txt, you'll see the code for writing to a file is in there. And the difference is, you'll notice there that there's a true and a false here. Now, if it's true, it means it's going to be appending. If it's false, it means it's going to overwrite. So the write to the file method here is going to append. I would potentially also want to create another method called override file, which will overwrite it with the other information that's going to be going there. And then this one, I would change this to false, meaning that it will overwrite everything that's there with something else, and we'll use that later. For now, we're just wanting to add it to the file, so if anything, I can actually even change the variable name of this to add to file. So this one's adding to file, this one's overriding file. Okay, so now in our add weapons, we'll add it to there, and we send through, we add it to our array, and you'll notice that I did it in a separate video, where I created something to get the file format, where I sent through the weapon name, hashtag damage, hashtag speed. So I put it into the format that I wanted it into the thing. I created a getter in my class. This is encapsulation, where you include the methods pertaining to that class in that class. So if I want something structured in a file format, I put it in that format. Now, so my get file format will write that. So it's literally just weapon name, separation, damage, separation. So this is my delimiters. I'm putting my delimiters, so it will write to the text file those informations. If I go to my manager class, you'll see there that new file weapons.txt, it will sorry, that was the reading part. So when I add, I'll go add to file, I'll get the file format from there, and I want to write it to the weapons.txt file. So I'm sending through that information. You can follow this code and take a look at it, but literally that's what it's doing. So it sends it through to here, it sends through the file name, it opens up a new print router streamer to the file, gets it output there, and it's done. Okay, now if I go to my weapons class now, and I want to now work with this one, when I add the weapon, it shouldn't be add weapon, it should be add weapon to array and to text file, and then it's done. So happy birthday to us, we've got that completely, so it will work. Now the next thing we want to do is, what if we want to delete? So we want to now private void delete weapon. Now firstly, we have to have a way to actually select the weapon that we're going to work with. So I created a frame called, so let me make sure I've all coded everything. So add weapon should, okay, that's correct. So now my delete weapon should open this other frame. So then for my delete weapon, it should open up frm delete weapon dot set visible to be true. Okay, so now in this one, now when I open up this frame delete weapon, when I press this delete button, I would want to run delete weapon. Okay, and I would then go up and I would code my delete weapon, and we need to work with it. Now the first thing, I've got a combo box here, and I added a combo box here so that we could add all the weapon names here. The user would select the weapon, so you're limiting what the users can input, because you can't just put a text field there. So what if the user's got to type in the full name of the weapon? If they make one spelling mistake, you will delete an incorrect weapon or not delete a weapon at all. So you want to limit the user to only be able to delete a weapon that exists. So we're going to have to add all the weapons in here that we want. So you see at the moment I've got item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, it's separated by commas. So if I go to my source code and I go to the generated code and we look for the item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, we can see it over here. It creates it as a string array when making the combo box model for setting the model. So it's got to do with the model that we're working with here. So I'm going to copy this code exactly as it stands, and I am going to paste it after. So after I've displayed all and I've gotten my manager class thing, everything is loaded, I am going to, and I'm potentially only going to do this when the delete weapon, show delete weapon is run. So I'm actually only going to do this down here where I show the delete weapon set visible to be true. Now that I'm adding more code here, I don't like doing it inside this method, because this method then becomes behind everything, it's cumbersome. So I just cut it from here, and now I'll go show delete weapon. Now the reason why I'm doing this is that once you've deleted the weapon, you would want to update it. So the next time you show the delete weapon, you don't want that one in the array, or if you've added more, you want it in the array. So as soon as they click show add weapon, you want to update the combo box to make sure that what you're showing there, as far as the weapons are concerned, is the updated weapons from the text file, or weapons in your current array. So now I've got the show delete weapon, I'm going to put that into there. Now instead of this new string array here, I want a string array of the actual weapon's name. So in my manager class where I've got all the weapons, I can create a method that's going to return me, so I can create a public string array, so it's going to return a string array of get weapons as a text file. So now the get weapons, I now need to create a temporary string array, so called web whatever equals new string array, and we know that the size of this array is going to be the number of weapons. Now all we need to do is we just need to loop through, so we loop through our array, and we are just then literally going to go weapons position I, sorry, excuse me for that, is equal to weapons position I dot get weapon name. So now all we're doing is we're taking the array of weapons and just getting the weapon names and making it into a string array. So instead of having a complex object array, we're just taking only the weapon name and putting it into a string array. So I'm only getting the weapons back. This will also be how I can add it to a list or anything. So I'm just creating from my array, I'm returning the weapons, and then I can work from there. So now if I go to my item here, instead of me going item 1, item 2, new string array, I can literally just put into this code, I don't want this anymore, I want to go from my manager dot get weapons. And that will then send through that array and update the model of this to be the weapons from there. So now when I run my program, it's not going to work for the delete yet, but at least I can see what's happening with regards to that. So you'll see my frame is working here. When I go add weapon, it'll open up another frame which is on a different window, sorry about that. So I'll open up this frame here. I could then type in weapon name, so hatchet, weapon damage, whatever, speed, add. Okay, now we haven't updated our display, but if I click display all again, okay, it doesn't look like it's adding. We'll look into that just now, why it's not overriding, or maybe my display all isn't running. So let's just see if the hatchet has been added. If I run it again, that's fun. Data type mismatch. Okay, so it looks like our, now that we've got this, if we run back along this, you can see in our manager, when we're loading our weapons, it's now wrong. So meaning when we've written to our text file, we've made a mistake. So if I go to where I'm doing this under HPC share, IT general, IT sources, IT general resources, notes, writing to a file, mercenary. You'll see here's my weapons text file, so we can take a look at it. So there is a hatchet here, but you take a look at the format that I've got it in. It's going samurai 1030 hatchet 564 #1. Okay, so there's no enter prior to the hatchet, so it's basically writing it all on one line. So the problem is it's not writing on a new line, it's writing on that line. And potentially it might actually only be because of the fact that the mistake was made, and the fact that when I hadn't had an enter prior to, because what should happen is when I do the right line here, is it should put an enter in. So probably I didn't have an enter from the text file before, so I've redone this, whereas now I've started and I've made sure that my text file has an enter afterwards. So I've got an enter after it there. So now I'm going to sorry, close this, run it, and then now that I've run it, I'm going to now go, okay, so hatchet is now there. So now let's try the add weapon again, and if this doesn't work, it means there's something definitely wrong with my array in here. So now we're going to say bow and arrow, weapon damage 20, 200, sorry, speed 2, 20, okay, add hatchet damage 3 per second, display all, okay, doesn't update there. Let's see if I run it again, so I reload it from the text file, there's no such element exception again. So if we look at it, it looks like it's not adding the array. Ooh, now it's got 2 enters in it. That's fun. Okay, so now basically there was a line gap between, so let's just delete here. So again, I think it might just be the fact the way that the text file is set up, because the fact that now it's a different problem, the fact that there's a blank line being entered, it may be that it was because I manually entered in those dots instead of through electronically only. So a way I could also try to solve this is to delete every single weapon that I set as a preload, and then just see if my adds works, and only add to this text file from this program. So let's try this. Let's go and delete this again, run it again, let's add a weapon again. I know it's a bit frustrating, but yeah, bear with me please. Okay, so now now we're going to have a teacup. I don't know if you ever watched Pitch Black. I'll kill you with the teacup. So it's going to be 1000 damage, instant kill. And then now if you go to okay, this paywall is obviously not working. Let's rerun it. Hey, so now our text file is working, and you'll see there that teacup is there. Just to double check one last time, we're going to do one more just to be 100% sure. Fridge magnet, recipe damage of 1 add, close, rerun it. Obviously I should get my display all working, but I'm not going to work it now. Okay, now it worked 100%. Here's my fridge magnet, here's my teacup. So it is actually working. There wasn't anything wrong with my add. I think my logic there was correct, but my preload was set up incorrectly. So just please make sure when you do that, the error might not necessarily be in the add area. So it's a good idea maybe to even start with a blank text file and only add through your code. That would also potentially save you that problem. Okay, so now for the delete, which was the whole point of me running it this time, I wanted to show you that when I click on my delete weapon, it'll open up a frame which is now in another window. Unfortunately, the minimized size is crazily minimized, so I need to set a maximum size. And the delete button's at the top, and then over here, it'll give you a list of the things that I want to press. So if I go hatchet and I press delete, it should delete the hatchet. So that is what we're wanting to happen. So I'll go back to my GUI, design, and now it's coming up above it here, but probably because of the fact that I'm reloading my show weapon details here, probably means is why the combo box, the delete button, is happening after. So potentially what I need to do is work with my design so it's in a different panel so that it doesn't do that. But your guys' problem. It's just literally you put a panel, put it in there. Yeah, it's done. Alright. Now, form delete weapon. We now actually want to, now we want to physically delete the weapon. First thing we've got to do is we've got to find the name of the weapon we want to delete. So string weapon name is equal to cmb weapon dot get value get selected item. Okay, so that returns it as an object. Now again, an object is not a string. To convert it to a string, you just put inverted commas, and that will then change it to a weapon name. We now want to delete that weapon name, so from our manager we need to create a delete from. Now there's different ways. One, to delete, I'm just going to start with this video. The last thing I'm going to be doing in this video is just to delete it from the array, and in the next video, maybe if we have time, I'll do it from here as well. Void delete. So we want to delete weapon, and we're going to receive through the string weapon name. And on this weapon name that we're going to delete, we are going to say there, we're going to receive through weapon name. We're going to delete that weapon name. So we go. Using my train of thought here. Right. So firstly, we're going to have to find that weapon, which position in the array it is. So we're going to, you should have actually even had another one which would be called get pos. In your one test, which this preload came from, there was a question. So you should know how to do a search. So public int get pos, and this will get the position in the array that the object is. So I'm just going to go here, string. You've all done a search. So I'm not going to be explaining this. And this last part is if it can't find it. So now, technically, now what I can do is I can find the position of it as an array by just going get pos, and I could send to that weapon name. Now, but logically speaking, because the user is only allowed to select a weapon from that combo box, it's impossible for that weapon name not to exist in the array, because the array is where the thing got it from. The only potential issue is if you're working from a file that someone else has access to, or an array that someone else has access to online, you might want to still check if this pos is -0. If pos is equal to -1, you would want to put some form of error handling in here. Else, you would want to delete it. I'm not going to put the error handling in here because we're 99% sure that it's not going to cause an error, but I'm just going to put the WTF because it really should never happen, but it's a good idea just to add that there, just to get used to the idea of making code so it will not break no matter what, impossible to break. Now, we've found out where the item is that we want to delete. Now there's actually a bit of a shortcut to deleting this item. It does change the order of your array, but you literally just go weapons, position, pos, so the position that you want to delete. And all you do is you make this weapons at position pos equal to the last position in the array. So weapons, position num weapons -1, which means you're literally overwriting the position you want to delete with the last item in the array. And then all you do is you go num weapons minus minus. So what you're doing then is you're just basically saying that the next time a weapon's added, it's just going to override it. It's actually how your hard drive works as well. Your hard drive won't actually physically delete the file. It often just deletes the references to the file. But the physical data on the actual hard drive is still physically there. That's why you have certain programs that do cleans, which will kind of clean it so people can't recover data there if they even want to. So here we're literally just deleting the reference to the we're overwriting this one with the last one, and then we're deleting the reference to the last one, we're moving it one back, so the next time you write information on it, it'll just overwrite it. Same thing with the hard drive. You've deleted the reference to it, so it doesn't think there's any information there, so the next time you want to write something, it'll overwrite it, no problem. So that's all you're doing for deleting it from the array. But now that you've deleted it from the array, you haven't deleted it from the text file. Now this is a little bit complicated, because you don't want to have to go through every single bit of the text file. The text file works sequentially, you go individual items. So what you actually do is you just go, well, I don't want this text file anymore, override it with the new text file. So what you do is you create you can create something which will get the full on how the text file should look. So you're actually creating a new weapon file. So now on this new weapon file, firstly you want to actually just clear everything with that file, and you want to override it with a new string. So invalid method type, so let's just make this void, because we're actually just physically doing something here. And I'm literally just going to go and I'm going to loop through my whole entire weapon array and recreate a string which would be what I would want my last one to be. So I'm going to create a string, new weapons is equal to blank. I'm going to loop through my array. I am then going to go and say, okay, I no longer want to work with this. I'm going to go and say new weapon file is equal to plus equals weapons position I dot get file format, so I'll get that weapons row plus a enter afterwards. After I've done that, now this enter is not necessarily the same enter. I've had problems with this before, and actually what I did at one point, I might have just deleted the whole entire file and written it line by line back again. But we'll see if this works, and if it doesn't work, we'll try the other way. So now my new weapon file is how my new weapon should look. So now what I should want to do is I want to override my file. So override my file, my new weapon message, and my file name is weapons.txt. So let's see if this works. So let's save it, let's see what happens. So if I press play now, I run my delete weapon. So it's very big, but it's, I want to delete the hatchet, delete. Okay, now we don't have any error messages, we don't have anything along those lines, so we have no idea if it works. So obviously my coding is bad, because I should have said here, okay, well, after you delete weapon, I haven't actually even run the delete weapon, never mind. Delete weapon doesn't do anything, so we want to go manager dot delete weapon. We want to delete that weapon. We then want to go and we want to say to the user, and we could say weapon name plus deleted successfully. Next year especially, you should actually be putting error handling in here and make an option to say make sure that the weapon was deleted correctly and all that, to put extra error handling in. But we've got that, and then we want to go frm rn delete weapon dot show set visible to be false. So then that will actually update, and technically you'd also want to update your display so it shows it's deleted. We're not updating the display, I'm not doing that because as this video is getting too long. So but here you would update the display. So you'd make sure the user would show that it's been deleted, but we're going to have to do this in multiple steps. because I didn't do that sadly. Okay, so we're going to delete weapon. We are going to choose hatchet. Again, excuse me that it's big, but whatever. Hatchet, and we're going to delete. Hatchet was deleted successfully. Okay, close. There was no error messages run, so now if we run it again, if we take a look, hatchet is still there. So hatchet was not deleted. It obviously didn't override. So something did not happen. So let's take a look at what we've done. So weapons.txt, literally nothing has changed. The thing was still there. So now, what may have happened when I delete weapon, that's funny. Okay, so I run the delete weapon method. I didn't even run the no new weapon file. I didn't run it. Okay, my bad. So I never actually ran the new weapon file. So I was just literally, I can't see if it didn't work because I didn't even run it. Step 1 of running programs, make sure you run the methods that you're wanting to test. Okay, so now if we move on, and I want to go, I want to delete the hatchet, delete, the hatchet deleted successfully, close. We had no error messages, so the program runs successfully. Let's see if the text file is now working. So now we look at there, hey, no hatchet, and it's still reading perfectly. Let's add a weapon, make sure that I can now add again. So let's add now bacon as a negative 100. If you attack people with bacon, yeah, you get positive health. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. You add, and then you'll see there now. I close it, I reopen it. Ooh. So now our reading from a text file after you've added it. Now, okay, this is interesting. The \n wasn't working as a character that was going there. So every single thing on my text file, other than bacon, which is added now, didn't actually have an enter character shown here, but it worked. It worked before we had the bacon. This is why actually I wanted to work with that. So interestingly, it looks like because now enter character when I added a notepad is different to an enter character when I added through the text here. So potentially it's worthwhile, instead of here when I write to file, when I add to file, I print line. Maybe it is worthwhile to send the message that we send through as message plus a \n, and we don't print line, we just print. So we're actually working with \n's as our constant line delimiter. Bear with me on this, but I think this might work. I've deleted it from the weapons text file, and it is there. The logic behind this is perhaps not so easy to explain, but in a nutshell, an enter character or a print line is different to a \n, so they are a character that represents it anyway there. So there's a couple of ways I could have solved this. One, I could have, when I cleared the file, I could have written it back line by line. So I would have run this with nothing and then written it back line by line using print line. And then potentially also here in the print message, I should just go print. So we're just printing the files, we're not printing lines. Now here I'm not even using the line function, now I'm just using \n as my delimiter, which means when I open it I won't see the difference, but we should, the program's purpose is to run it. So let's see how this works, if this works now. So let's go and run it. We've got the file, so delete weapon, make sure that this is still working. So the weapon I'm going to delete is now going to be the bow and arrow, delete, okay. I'm going to now also add a weapon. The weapon I'm going to add is a cheese grater. I'm making good weapons here, right? Alright, the cheese grater weapon is 5, 2, 10 feet per thing, so it's got all those little things. Okay, close, rerun it. Sweet, a cheese grater is there, and I can't even remember which one I deleted now. I thought it was fridge magnet. Okay, let me just double check which one I deleted it, and now I'm going to be sure I'm deleting the fridge magnet. Delete. Fridge magnet, delete. Okay, fridge magnet, select, definitely deleted. Add weapon, whatever. Okay, close, run. Fridge magnet is definitely gone, and mine is definitely added. Okay, so we're happy that things are working. Yeah. So I chose now not to go through that, but you guys can choose your solution, but it's up to you guys to problem solve. Sweet. Goodbye.